Listen, welcome to another night of Tuesday Night Sports Talk. Listen, Connor Anthony is not here. He's actually on assignment. He's out in L.A. wondering why they don't have a true water supply, and he's also preventing a zombie apocalypse and really kind of investigating the L.A. Lakers and what the debacle they are with promoting Magic Johnson to their head of basketball operations. But I do have in studio Mr. Patrick Hyland, who's a dear friend of mine and a co-radio host on a nightly sports talk show in Tampa Bay. So I'd like to welcome Patrick Hyland to Tuesday Night Sports Talk.
Good evening, Kurt Lorden. It is a pleasure to be here, young man. Appreciate you inviting me. Going to have a lot of fun talking sports tonight, and I'm looking forward to it, man. A lot of things happening.
There's all kinds of stuff happening. I mean, we have Darrelle Revis getting in trouble. We have, we have Major League Baseball is coming on, which is my favorite sport, by the way. You guys may not know that because we've been talking about football because we started this series during the waning edges of the NFL football season. But baseball is upon us. We have all the catchers, pitchers, and everyone has reported. So we got spring training upon us. We're going to talk about,
Love it.
Yeah, absolutely love it. We're going to talk about we're going to prognosticate what the AL East and AL Central, the AL West, and what the NL is going to do as well, and who we predict is going to win the Major League Baseball World Series.
All right, well, let's get started, man. AL East. Who's going to win the AL East?
Well, the one thing about this baseball season, this offseason, that I've realized or noticed is that the free agent activity is kind of one of its weaker in the seasons. I mean, it really has. I mean, the biggest signings were, Chapman went to the Yankees.
Yep.
Which, I'm sorry, he went back to the Yankees.
I know what you meant, man.
The Cubs lose Fowl to the Cardinals, which to me was a huge loss. I mean, the Cubs lost two key components, to their roster. We have the Blue Jays lost, Encarnacion to the Indians, which I think was a huge gain for the Indians based on what they built last year and what they can do next year. And then the Cards, they shipped off Old Man Holiday back to, not back, but to the Yankees.
Well, that's going to be interesting. The Yankees could be strong again this year because of that. I hope not, but because I'm a Tampa Bay Ray fan, obviously living here in this area. And I know you have to pull for your Indians a little bit because you're from that neck of the woods.
Well, I root for the Indians a little bit, but I'm at heart of hearts, I'm a Pirates fan.
That's right. And I got relatives in Pittsburgh. I know a lot of people listen to the show, know Three Rivers and Forbes Field back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Now Heinz Field. Yeah, go
I'm telling you, Pittsburgh
man.
Is a fantastic sports town.
It's awesome.
I can't take that away from it. But, moving to the AL East, I think that Boston is going to have a huge setback this year.
Okay.
Well, and the reason being is that if you look at the offensive power there's a lot of youth, and Hanley Ramirez is really stepping into that Big Papi role.
Yes.
But Hanley Ramirez is not the leader that Big Papi was. I think that they rallied around Big Papi last year, and they went as far as they possibly could. Their pitching's outstanding. Their pitching is solid, but they're not going to have that keystone. Big Papi's now hitting tennis balls on commercials.
That is a funny commercial, isn't it, Kurt?
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
I'd look at Peyton Manning retired, and he was doing silly commercials, too.
He's selling pizza and having awkward, meetings with his previous mascots and his brother. I got you on nachos on Tuesday.
Exactly.
Moving forward, just so you know.
That's funny.
But I think that the Red Sox are actually going to drop. They probably will win, in my opinion, the wild card, but they're not going to win that division.
Wow.
Baltimore, they lost Readers today, actually, which finally, on a weekly sports talk show, we actually have relevant news that happened today. Yeah, so Matt Readers signed with the Nationals today.
Wow.
It was a 2-year, $20 million deal, which, if anyone understands baseball, you have two key components. You have your pitcher and your catcher. The catcher's not supposed to hit, but he's supposed to educate and teach and really kind of talk your pitchers down, because pitchers are prima donnas.
Easy now, easy.
No, they're mental head cases.
Come on, man.
We couldn't get Chuck Knoblaw to throw from second to first. You have a pitcher that gets into some sort of a weird mental issue. He's going to, throw meatballs to the next hitter. But in my opinion, they're going to drop. And I think that the Yankees and the Blue Jays are going to move up. And I think the Blue Jays are going to win that division.
Wow.
I really, truly do.
They've been saying that for 15 years, man.
Got to get it right eventually.
Here come the Blue Jays.
Got to get it right eventually. And we apologize about the rerun last week. I was sick, and Connor was still on assignment dealing with the zombies. But, he went 0-13 with the previous Super Bowl champions. So I'm going to go the exact opposite way and say I think the Blue Jays are actually going to win.
It'll be interesting. I mean, they have some talent.
They do. They do.
Very important question to the Tampa Bay fans. Do the Rays get above 500 this year?
They will.
Okay, good.
I believe they will. They are, if their owner can just open up those purse strings. And I think it's time to let go of Longoria. I think it's time to unload him at the trade deadline, get some very key prospects, and do what they did 8 years ago.
Back in 08. Yeah.
And rebuild that, that culture, because they're a small market team. Pittsburgh's a small market team. Oakland's a small market team, and you have to really kind of play your chips accordingly and play them wisely to get to the next level. And right now, they're not doing that, and they need to let go of some of their top end players. And Longoria's been on the decline the past couple of years. I mean, he is the face of the franchise, but what do you think?
Well, I like Evan a lot, and I want to see him do well. I would like to see him get one more year here, but can he do 30 home runs and 100 RBIs? That's the question. But I can't put it all on him. He doesn't really have anybody helping him or backing him up in that lineup. So, I mean, maybe you do let him go. I mean, I think he's earned the right to kind of let it be his choice where he wants to go and kind of dictate on trying to make some things happen. And if he doesn't want to go, then you know what? I think you honor that too, Kurt.
Well, no, you have to. I agree with that. But if you look at how the Rays were built, they were built off pitching, defense, and Madden's a genius.
Yes, he is.
We saw what he did in Chicago, and we'll talk about my prediction as far as what Chicago's going to do this year. But he is a genius. He moves people around. He changes the lineup. He changes where the pitcher's going to hit in the lineup based on what his opponent. I mean, the guy is the Bill Belichick of Major League Baseball. I mean, bar none.
Well, the reason I like Joe Madden the best is he treats the players the way they want to be treated and makes them happy. And that's the key. He puts them in the happy zone.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing you can do. Yes, he makes the right moves. But you know why he makes those right moves? Because when he makes it, the guys believe in him or they're happy to do it.
Right.
And that's so important. Yeah, he is a genius. No question about it.
Well, and when you're a small market coach, you have to have that management mentality. I mean, listen, anyone can go out and with a New York Yankees type payroll and put a team on the field that's actually going to produce and win. But we're seeing these small market teams actually grow and over the past few years, and we almost have this bubble, and we'll get to it a little bit later, but we have this bubble of teams that are kind of just in this upper echelon. And we have a large laundry list of teams that either have bastardized their roster by giving away top talent and not getting the prospects back, or just really bad managers and general managers and front office people that have just kind of swung and missed, no pun intended.
Right.
And the Rays are going to improve. I know that they will. Are they going to be contending? No. They're in probably the toughest division in the AL.
Let me ask you a question, Kurt.
Yep.
Mr. Baseball, loving baseball. Do you like the divisions? We'll start out with that, number one.
What do you mean?
Okay, I'll elaborate.
Yeah.
What I don't like is this. I don't like divisions in pro football or pro baseball, basketball, period. I don't want to see the Yankees 20 times. I like the New Orleans Saints, but I don't want to play them twice a year either, being a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan.
Fair enough.
Okay, play everybody once, play everybody a few more times, and let's see who the true champion is, because then we don't have to worry about being in the toughest division. And then you get a fair market of really what is the best team out there versus this division thing. They do it for money. That's the only reason they do this, and I wish they would stop it, especially in pro football.
With that. So basically, you're taking the stance of kind of like a fantasy baseball or fantasy football league, where it's like you're drafting. You have, the top 8 teams, or you divide them up, and you have to divide them up into 2 things because obviously you can't play. But there's no division. It's just 16 teams over here, 16 teams over here,
AFC,
and you play.
NFC. With the NFC, here's what I'd like to happen. You play everybody once. That's 15 games.
Yeah.
Then you play 3 from the AFC, depending on what your record was the year before versus what their record was the year before. And then you alternate just like college. You're home one year, you're away the next year. Guess what?
Commissioners out there, I hope you're watching, because I think this is actually a fantastic idea, and I'm intrigued.
Yes.
No, I think it's great, because the reality is that you do have stronger divisions based on payrolls and based on markets. The only alternative would be to put all the small market teams in one group, put all the big market teams in one group, and then the medium, it's kind of like the Goldilocks theory, too cold, the medium, and the too hot. Just break them all up in one. But I think Patrick actually has a good idea where you just put them all in one, and bam, and it's like the cage match in WWE.
That's what I'm talking about.
I like it. We are revolutionizing sports here right now on Tuesday Night Sports. I absolutely love it.
I just think it'd make it more fair.
It would make it more fair.
Okay, so you play in a weak division, you get 6 easy games, and you go 5-1, and I play in a tough division and go 3-3, and you make the playoffs by 1 game.
Well,
How is that fair?
Listen, let's call a spade a spade. The reason why the Patriots have made it to the Super Bowl every 3rd year is because they're in the weakest division in the NFL.
Thank
and
you.
They get the #1 seed. Yes, and they also somehow clog the radio frequency in every single broadcast. So yeah, I get it. Now,
Yes.
You're right. No, you're right. If you are the top dog, maybe every other year they switch the divisions. Or maybe
no,
I have no idea.
Divisions. I don't want divisions.
I don't. You're right. You know what? We should not divide anything. We're all equals.
Period.
Yeah, I like it.
There you go.
This is revolutionary. Yeah, I have you on the show more often. So anyway, we got to go to a break in a second, and we barely got through one division. This is awesome.
When we come back, But we'll come back,
we're going to finish the rest.
I'm going to see. You're going to predict who you win the AL East and so forth, and I predict. And then 6 months from now, we're going to see who the real winner is.
We have a bet. We have a $100 bet going on in this.
Yes.
We'll shake on it.
You got it, man.
All right. So we'll also talk about the AL Central and the AL West, and then also what revolutionized and changed baseball's history. Do not change that dial, because there's some very interesting information coming down the pike.
If you were injured in a car crash, what would you do first? Who would you call?
You claim to be injured, yet you spoke to and saw an attorney before you saw a doctor. Is that true?
Yes.
Lawyers on TV tell you to call them first. You can, but should you? The law has changed, and you may find yourself paying your own medical bills if you don't see a doctor in the first 14 days. If you've been in a car crash, you need MyCrashMD, the interactive doctor visit, where you can consult virtually with a physician after you've been hurt in a car accident.
We can see you today. We'll take great care of you, regardless if you are at fault or not.
MyCrashMD is an actual medical visit with a doctor. No waiting in an ER, no wasting time driving around town. Download MyCrashMD free from anywhere and then see a doctor on any mobile device. Times are changing. If you don't get medical attention within the first 14 days after your crash, you could lose your insurance benefits. So if you've been in a car crash, help yourself and your accident case with MyCrashMD.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect 98.75% patient satisfaction. 50,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Over half our patients have suffered from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
Welcome back to Tuesday Night Sports Talk. And before the break, we talked about this whole hot dog thing. And Charles Feldman was the gentleman who invented the hot dog bun. However, Antoine Fougeron, who was a German fella, he would actually give his hot dogs, or sausages, I guess, if you will, with white gloves. And he realized that the white gloves were not coming back. So he decided to scrap that idea. And he went to his brother, who was a baker, and he made this bun. And that's actually how the hot dog bun came to fruition. We had a guy that was handing out white gloves, who was giving out meat, and he decided to put the meat in sort of a bun because his brother was a baker. And those hot dogs are now sold at every single Major League Baseball stadium. And that actually, if you ever think about baseball, what's your favorite part of baseball?
Oh, there's a saying, having a beer and a hot dog at a ball game is better than having a steak at the Ritz.
Absolutely. You go to any hot dog stand and you eat a hot dog, and you take that exact hot dog, you bring it to a baseball stadium, there's no comparison. I mean, the taste of a hot dog, just having that, it's awesome. It's part of Americana, and it's what made this sport America's pastime. So we talked about the AL East, and we're going to talk about the AL Central here in a second. So to me, the AL Central is hands down the weakest division. I mean, we have Cleveland, Detroit, KC, and Chicago. I mean, Cleveland made it to the World Series last year. They didn't lose anyone, and they added Edwin Encarnacion. I really have hard with those names. Detroit will probably lose at least 20 games more than they lost last year. Chicago's not going anywhere. KC, in my opinion, they may improve a little bit, and then you have, that's pretty much it. I really don't see them.
No, I agree with you. The only thing I can see happening there is KC might find a way to win that division again. Detroit, you're right, I think they're going down, but you never know. Detroit finds a way sometimes to make the playoffs or win that division. So it's going to be interesting.
If you're right, if Detroit can make it competitive through at least the All-Star break and maybe make a couple competitive trades to put them over the edge. KC has still a lot of very young talent. They unfortunately lost their pitcher, which I think may drive them a little bit more emotionally, but I don't know if that drive will take them to the next level and compete with a Cleveland. And listen, I'm 39 years old. I had to think about it. I'm going to be 40 in March.
There you go.
To have a conversation that Cleveland has a competitive team warms my heart, only because I'm from Ohio. But that's a runaway division for Cleveland.
Well, Cleveland should run away with it. They had a great year last year, and I think they can have a better year this year. And we're going to find out. And I'm looking forward to spring training. It's so awesome here in Tampa Bay. I mean, you can go catch the Indians over in Winter Haven.
Oh, I know.
Go down to Bradenton to watch the Pirates. Okay, I mean, Phillies in Clearwater, Yankees in Tampa. Go watch your Rays down in Port Charlotte.
Oh, yeah.
It's a cool area, man.
The best part of having your birthday in March is that you can actually take a spring training tour where Toronto plays in Dunedin. There you go. Probably one of the ugliest stadiums you'll go to, but it's beautiful because I'm literally this close to every single player. Like Patrick is like the pitcher.
No, it's a cool stadium.
And then, the Charlotte where the Rays play, it's gorgeous. Bradenton where the Pirates play, absolutely beautiful. So every year I actually go on a 7-day trip where I go from stadium, and I watch all the teams the best I can. And really, there's no better place to watch it outside of when you go to Arizona. So Arizona has a whole different setup. They have like 6 or 7 stadiums where all the teams play, so you can literally go to one city and just watch all the teams. But here you can actually go to Jupiter, you can go to Port St. Lucie, you can go to Fort Myers where the Twins and the Red Sox play.
Orlando,
Kissimmee. I mean, you can't beat it. You absolutely can't beat it. So we'll move to the AL West, where we have Seattle, Texas, Houston, and then the Los Angeles Angels, which I think Connor is currently covering, and then Oakland. So what do you think about the AL West?
Well, I really think, it sounds crazy, but I think Arizona has an outside shot this year in that division. I just see them improving. If Goldschmidt can play, they can get some other guys to hit with them. They're going to be very competitive this year. Seattle, I know you like Seattle. I do also. They seem to be on the, making the turn for the better. But don't count out the Los Angeles Angels. For some reason, they always are competitive. That's going to be a very interesting division, Kurt. I'm looking forward to that division. That's going to be a lot of fun. We were talking about fantasy earlier.
Yeah.
That's going to be a heck of a division to get some fantasy players
I
from.
think it will because, it's not the weakest, it's not the strongest, but every single team has key strengths and key weaknesses. And, obviously Seattle won the division last year. Or, I'm sorry, Texas won the division last year.
Yes.
I think Seattle will probably push up a little bit, but you're right. The Angels have a legitimate shot. Houston was the surprise child a couple years ago, and they still have that youth. Now, maybe their head got too big and they lost their edge, but if they can find that fire.
Well, everybody thought, myself included, that it was going to be Houston's year last year, but guess what? It didn't happen. And it's funny with me, Kurt, every time I say that, the next year the team does great. I draft a fantasy baseball player last year, and he chokes, and I go, I can't touch him. And then he has a rebound year and knocks it out of the park. So it's real funny how sports work and how.
So for future reference, if you guys are getting ready to draft your baseball team, email Patrick Highland, and he will send you who he drafted last year.
Exactly.
Draft him, and you'll probably win.
Exactly.
Just like Connor Anthony, when he predicts the Super Bowl winner, just go against it, and you'll probably win. So what we're doing is we're future. Yeah, we're Nostradamus. We're the Nostradamus of sports talk radio or sports talk TV.
There you go.
Radio.
Just do the opposite.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll make
do the opposite. It makes complete sense. All right. So who do you think will win the AL West?
Well, I'm going to go with the Houston Astros. I really am. I'm
writing this down.
Houston Astros, brother. And you know what? Yeah, I'm going to pull some other crazy ones out of my hat here. The Minnesota Twins.
So you're pulling the. Wait. Okay. So you think the Twins are going to win the Central? Okay. Listen, I'm writing this down. I'm writing this down. And then the AL East.
Baltimore Orioles.
All right. I'm going to start changing your name to Easy Money.
There you go, buddy.
All right. So who do you think will go to the World Series out of the AL?
I'm talking with my heart right there, to be honest with you.
That's fine.
Now, on an honest note, the Yankees really are probably going to win and, at least get to the World Series.
Okay.
And I'm surprised. You would think, how long would you think Joe Girardi's been the manager there with the Yankees?
He's 7 years.
That's pretty good. A lot of people think longer, so you're right on the money. It's 8 years. So, a lot of people go, God, it's only been 8 years for him. But that just shows you the big market. When you see the Yankees all the time, you think this guy's been there for a long time.
Well, and
Torrey left recently. So.
Yeah, he did. And that goes back to the importance of that position. I mean, Joe Girardi was a catcher.
Yes.
And having, and we'll talk about the Orioles losing Matt Wieters. The catcher is the general of the field. I mean, he runs the entire thing. He's not supposed to hit. He's not really supposed to do anything. And I was a catcher all throughout, high school and college and everything else. So I understand the concept of running or being a on-the-field manager, not like Pete Rose did back in the day when he was a player manager, which was absolutely awesome. And if you guys could ever go back and watch some of the replays, YouTube Pete Rose, I assure you, you'll be astounded. But all right, so Yankees in the East, Twins in the Central, Houston in the West. I'm going to go with Toronto in the East. I'll go with Cleveland in the Central, and I'm going to go with Seattle in the West.
Yeah, you're Mr. Favorite. You're Mr. Chalk. Come on, man.
Listen, maybe I am, maybe I'm not.
I'm just kidding with you, Bob. No,
I appreciate that.
Who I'm pulling for is the Orioles, to be up front with you. I'd like to see that franchise win it all.
I'm a Cal Ripken fan. I agree with you 100%.
That's why I'm pulling for him. Matt Wieters leaving. Yeah, it is a loss. It's a great point you make, but maybe they can. They got some young talent there, man.
I don't see why the Orioles couldn't make it to the World Series. Now, we talked about who was winning the actual division. Now,
the Orioles could really easily get to a wild card because that's going to be wide open.
Hands down. It's going to be between the Orioles and the Yankees.
Yes.
I think I
hope so.
I hope so too. And the Orioles
Toronto's good. Toronto's good. You're right.
They
but
are.
Again, you just keep crying wolf. We'll see if this is the year they really put it
Well, they're
together.
also part of Canada, and we're
Canada.
Americans.
Exactly.
Well, maybe Trump will just completely excommunicate them.
About to. No more basketball.
There's no more
baseball.
Canadian teams. We're not being political. We're making a joke.
Exactly. Relax. No, the Raptors are good.
Anyway, so
Blue Jays are fine.
So next break, we're going to talk about the National League, and then we'll touch a little bit about how Vlade Divac might be an idiot.
If you were injured in a car crash, what would you do first? Who would you call?
You claim to be injured, yet you spoke to and saw an attorney before you saw a doctor. Is that true?
Yes.
Lawyers on TV tell you to call them first. You can, but should you? The law has changed, and you may find yourself paying your own medical bills if you don't see a doctor in the first 14 days. If you've been in a car crash, you need MyCrashMD, the interactive doctor visit, where you can consult virtually with a physician after you've been hurt in a car accident.
We can see you today. We'll take great care of you, regardless if you are at fault or not.
MyCrashMD is an actual medical visit with a doctor. No waiting in an ER, no wasting time driving around town. Download MyCrashMD free from anywhere and then see a doctor on any mobile device. Times are changing. If you don't get medical attention within the first 14 days after your crash, you could lose your insurance benefits. So if you've been in a car crash, help yourself and your accident case with MyCrashMD.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect 98.75% patient satisfaction. 50,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Over half our patients have suffered from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
Welcome back to Tuesday Night Sports Talk. We spoke earlier before the break on what an idiot Vlade Divac is. And for those of you who don't know who he is, he's played for the LA Lakers. I'll send a text out to Connor so he understands who we're talking about. So anyway, we have a huge trade. DeMarcus Cousins was traded to the Pelicans, and he's going to team up with Anthony Davis, who is an all-star, and he really needed a big man. But the funny part is that Vlade decided to go on a rant about how he had a better trade like 3 days prior. And I'm like, homeboy, why wouldn't you take the trade 3 days prior? And then at that point, why would you bitch about it 3 days later? This has also come from the guy who used to smoke cigarettes in between quarters during his NBA games while he was a Laker. So what do you
Very interesting
would you do
cat, to
that?
say the least. I can't see how any professional athlete would smoke. I don't get it, and it's still prevalent out there. I don't.
Well, they
get
gave
it.
Mark Sanchez a bag of dicks because he actually ate a hot dog on the sideline when he was actually playing.
Yeah, I mean, what are you thinking, guys?
And he was hiding.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. Why would you do such a thing? No, I don't know what this guy is thinking, man. You know, take the better deal and run, or don't bring it up.
Yeah, don't bring it up. Exactly. It's
You
like,
know
listen,
what?
listen. You know what, Patrick? I'd love to date you.
Yeah.
But you know what? I got a better offer 3 days ago. But I'm going to date you in general. I'm really not dating Patrick.
Right,
It was kind of,
no.
we're role playing here.
Role playing there.
We're not really role playing. But anyway,
Yeah.
well, I digress.
You know what? I do want to bring up one thing. LeBron James. We talked about this a little bit this morning.
We did.
And I think the guy's getting a little too much heat. You know, he's never been in trouble with the law.
Nope.
Never been in trouble with the organization. Is he a little confident? Yes, he is. But you know what? I think the guy's just trying to find a way to get his team motivated to win it all.
No, he is. He 100% is. And, you know, he's from Akron, Ohio. I'm from Alliance, Ohio. We're 25 minutes apart. You know, he was the top Ohio athlete along with Maurice Claret, and being an Ohio State fan, I mean, my heart bleeds for the fella. He's making all the right decisions, I think. You know, we're comparing him to Jordan, but you can't compare him to Jordan because it was a whole different
era, man.
a whole different era. You know, and what Jordan asked for, Jordan got. Now, I said a couple of weeks ago as far as maybe he's poo-pooing on, you know, with what Steph Curry has, and, you know, it's kind of like that jaded child that didn't get all the bells and whistles. But the sheer reality is Cleveland's a better team than Golden State right now.
They are. Here's what people, I think, need to realize. At least this is what I judge a professional athlete on. And it's real simple. Do they make the people around them better? If you do, guess what? Then you're the man. If you can't do that, then you're very talented, but you don't have that extracurricular to get the guys to the next level. I really do believe in that.
No, it's true, and you know he's gotten a lot of heat as far as not joining the dunk contest during the NBA.
Who cares?
Well, he's 260 pounds.
Yeah.
That'd be like I'm 240,
Yeah.
and I can't dunk, so I really am a bad example. But the sheer reality is that he's not as nimble as a Kobe Bryant. He's not as nimble as a Jordan or he can't. He's a power dunker. He's not a finesse dunker. So why would he do that? I'd much rather see him doing a one-on-one with Stephon Curry, which is really what I think the NBA should go to.
That would be neat. I
It'd
like
be
that.
Could you imagine
Absolutely.
Stephon Curry versus LeBron James in a one-on-one
Yeah. Let's see
to
who's-
10?
Yeah, to 10. and
But
let's
they
see.
won't do it because it's a players' league, which makes me so angry. Which makes me happy that Magic actually took over the Lakers because it's kind of bringing that old school thing
Yes,
back.
I agree with you.
Because the NBA right now is a players' league. Could you imagine if Curry, James, Harden, and Davis all retired tomorrow? Let's paint that picture.
Oh, boy. The league would take a serious hit, brother.
Now let's take a step back and look at the NFL. If Brady, Rodgers, Big Ben, and let's say Wilson, Breeze, or whomever in that fourth, they all retired. The league would not even miss a beat.
No, they wouldn't.
And that's the issue
point.
with the NBA. It's a player-run league, and you can't. Could you imagine if Google was ran by their employees?
Yeah.
Let's see how long that lasts.
You know what's funny? It's very simplistic, folks, but Jerry West is the NBA basketball player that they show up on the screen and on their logo. The NFL has the NFL. They don't have one player. It's kind of funny how that is. Just the point.
It is. It is. And baseball is a history-driven. I mean, when you talk about baseball, you talk about Babe Ruth, you talk about DiMaggio, you talk about, the Black Sox, you talk about all that. And it's interesting how all the four major sports are all driven by different, derivatives or whatnot. And it just makes me sad that such a passionate sport and such a sport that you can get so close to is driven by the players.
Yes.
And companies should never be driven by players.
No, you're 100% right. Now, getting back on baseball.
Oh, yeah.
The NL East, brother.
Let's see how
you know
we
what?
go
We're
here.
both probably going to pull for the same team here, the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Well, the NL East, actually, that's Central.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man.
Yep. NL East is, so we got Washington, Mets, the Miami,
Braves.
Phillies, and the Braves. So my prognostication is I think Washington's going to win that division.
I think the Mets are going to win it this year, man. I think the Mets are going to pull it off, Kurt. I really
John
do.
just said go Mets, so I'm going to actually say that they're going to be last in the division.
Oh, man, that's not right.
He just said I suck, so apparently I'm not going to be on next week.
Stop. I wish Atlanta. I've always been a big Atlanta Braves fan. Growing up here in Florida, that's all we got to watch or listen
If
to.
you can't see the daggers coming out of my eyes, I still remember when Barry Bonds couldn't throw out Sid Bream from deep short.
I know, man, but the Pirates.
It breaks my heart.
But at least the Pirates had a few World Series, so Atlanta needed that one.
Yeah, in the 70s.
Well, yeah.
Before I was born. I had to live 21 years without a winning record. Everyone's like, Kurt, you're a Steelers fan. Oh, you're a front runner. No, I'm also a Pirates fan, so apparently I'm not. I basically root for poverty and, I don't know, human trafficking, I guess.
I'm hoping
I really don't, but I was trying to create a...
That's funny. Well, okay, so you're going to go with the wonderful... Going against
I'm going to go with the Washington
Nationals.
The Washington Nationals. I think the Miami Marlins are actually going to win one of the wild cards.
Oh, wow. I like your thinking, man.
I think the Mets are going to drop. Philadelphia is obviously rebuilding. I think the Braves are going to actually improve dramatically.
They'll get a little better, but not enough. Just like I think the Rays are going to improve, but just not enough. This isn't the year for either one of those.
No.
Miami, you're right. They could sneak into a wild card.
Well,
if the Mets pitching can hang on, they will do awesome.
They will do awesome. They will do awesome. So,
but that's going to be a fun division. Talk about fantasy players to draft from. There you go.
Oh yeah. So we're going to move to the NL West because he and I both have
same thing with the Central.
An affection. Yeah, exactly. So the NL West. I mean, we really have the Giants versus the Dodgers, and it's basically pitching versus offense. I mean, it's literally like Apollo Creed versus Rocky Balboa.
That's right.
Because the Giants, they have the pitching. The Dodgers, they have the offense, and they're going to be battling out in, the Pacific Coast throughout an entire, 162 game series. And I think that what they do at the trade deadline, because the Giants lineup, it's weak. It's very weak right now. I'm not impressed with what Brandon Belt's done. I'm not impressed. Buster Posey really is kind of their shining star at this juncture. Hunter Pence is horrible.
Well, who had a nice year for them was Brandon Crawford, the shortstop from San Francisco.
He did.
Giants. He did well. So it's the Dodgers, the Giants. You have the A's.
Yep. Well,
the A's are in the AL, bro.
The Rockies will be noticeably better.
Colorado's who I'm thinking about.
Yep, the Rockies will be noticeably better. But, I mean, it's because they live in that environment way above sea level. But they've done nothing to improve their team.
No.
And then we have the Padres, which are still...
Wow.
I mean, they have made some horrendous deals.
I feel sorry. Hey, all you San Diego fans out there, I feel for you, man. The Chargers leave, the Padres, the Clippers. Man, what a beautiful city, and then their sports have really gone down. It's a thing.
At least you have the zoo.
Yeah, that's about it, man.
You have the zoo.
And the Pacific Ocean.
Oh, and also Connor. Connor also loves San Diego.
There
so
you go.
You guys have a small, bearded, trollish
Yeah, there
gentleman.
you go. He should be a mascot out there.
He should be. You know what? Thank you for stopping by. Now Connor's your new mascot. Appreciate that, San Diego.
Yes, sir.
If anyone's listening to San Diego, that was his idea, not mine.
I think you do great. So you go with Dodgers or Giants, brother?
I'm going with the Dodgers.
So am I.
Yep.
We both agree.
And
man.
I think that the Giants will actually fall off and not make the playoffs at all.
Wow. So no wild card for
Nope,
them.
not at all. Not at all.
That's going to be interesting.
They do not have enough.
You're right. The NL East might have a couple wild cards, or Pittsburgh might get that wild card. Cardinals.
Pittsburgh might win the Central.
Yeah. Cardinals are going to be interesting this year. I like their manager. I do like the Cardinals manager.
Everyone loves their manager, but what they've done doesn't really impress me.
No. I mean, they're going to have to. they're going to have to definitely overperform.
Yeah.
But they have the team to do it. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting.
What we talked about earlier as far as, age versus youth, and we have this bubble, and we have a lot of teams that are getting older and older and older. The Cardinals are one of them. Like, their
Yes.
team is getting older and
That's
older
true.
and older
They
and
needed-
older, and they're really not, infusing that youth. Chicago's kind of that mix. They have some elderly people, but they have a lot of youth that's been substantiated. Same with Pittsburgh in that division, and that division is the catalyst of what the NL is going to look like.
That's right. I agree with you.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be very interesting.
You look at
I'm
the
excited
NL
about it.
Oh, I'm
I think
100%.
this year baseball is going to be more exciting than it's been in a few years.
Oh,
At least I hope and pray.
100%. It absolutely
forward
will.
to it.
We'll see more steals. We'll see more homers. There'll be no PEDs, which, by the way, I think any person that was during the steroid era should be in the Hall of Fame because they didn't have a testing, system for HGH, and that wasn't part of their rules. So we talked about that a couple weeks ago. But, the NL Central, I see the Pirates winning it.
I hope you're right, man. I definitely do.
Beyond anyone, if the Pirates win the NL Central, I will wear a dress on camera. I'm making the bet right now. If the Pirates win, I'll wear a dress on camera.
I still think the Cubs will be competitive this year.
They
I just
will.
don't know if they're going to be the same team as last year.
They lost two key people. Dexter Fowler was there, and Chapman.
Yep.
Wade Davis isn't the closer that they think they are. That they think he is. He played for obviously the Rays. He's being reunited with Madden.
Yeah.
He had 17 saves during their World Series run. He had 28 or 30 the year prior, but he's not the commander that Chapman was.
No, I'll tell you, you're right. But Wade Davis was excellent for the KC Royals.
No, he
when they
was.
won the World
He
Series.
was. He was.
Can he bring that magic this year? That's going to be a
We have no idea.
interesting point.
But next segment, we're actually going to talk about who likes and who does not like Scotch, and we're going to touch on the NFL draft.
If you were injured in a car crash, what would you do first? Who would you call?
You claim to be injured, yet you spoke to and saw an attorney before you saw a doctor. Is that true?
Yes.
Lawyers on TV tell you to call them first. You can, but should you? The law has changed, and you may find yourself paying your own medical bills if you don't see a doctor in the first 14 days. If you've been in a car crash, you need MyCrashMD, the interactive doctor visit, where you can consult virtually with a physician after you've been hurt in a car accident.
We can see you today. We'll take great care of you, regardless if you are at fault or not.
MyCrashMD is an actual medical visit with a doctor. No waiting in an ER, no wasting time driving around town. Download MyCrashMD free from anywhere and then see a doctor on any mobile device. Times are changing. If you don't get medical attention within the first 14 days after your crash, you could lose your insurance benefits. So if you've been in a car crash, help yourself and your accident case with MyCrashMD.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect 98.75% patient satisfaction. 50,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Over half our patients have suffered from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
He's a trip.
Welcome back to Tuesday Night Sports Talk. This is our last and final segment, so please sit on the edge of your seats because you have no idea what's going to happen. Before we went to break, we talked about Scotch, and Patrick was talking about what kind of liquors do you like or what kind of liquors do you not like, and we kind of vetted through the entire process. So, what do you like and what don't you like?
Well, see, I'm funny. That's why I like going to the Hard Rock Cafe or the Hard Rock Casino, and they need to sponsor us real soon, okay? Because I'm there enough, okay? One Scotch, one bourbon, one beer, brother. You can't go wrong. And tequila for Cinco de Mayo, which is my birthday, you can't go wrong with that one either, brother.
That's not actually that bad. And also, it's Margarita Day,
Exactly.
I think, next week or in like a couple days.
That will
so
work.
my liquor of choice that I stay away from is Scotch, except for I was challenged in a Scotch drinking contest about 9 years ago. And the fellow's like, I can outdrink you. I'm like, nah, you probably can't. I'm Irish and I have 3 livers. So I beat him. He ended up in my front yard, and I fell asleep gently in my bed with a blow-up doll, conveniently provided by my ex-wife. So anyway,
nice.
Reality is there is no liquor that I can't consume. So anyway, back to
I'm right there
Patrick.
with you, brother. All
Anyway,
goes
so
good.
we were talking about the baseball, and you have who is your AL champ?
Baltimore Orioles.
Okay, who's your NL champ?
Pittsburgh Pirates.
So we share half that. I think it's going to be Pittsburgh, and I really, really, truly think the Yankees are actually going to pull it out.
I hope you're wrong, but you're probably right. Well, I'm a Tampa Bay Ray fan. I can't pull for the Yankees. I'm a Ray fan.
I know.
I mean, the Orioles are in the division too. The Yankees, they've won so many. Let somebody else get in there.
I would love to see Pittsburgh and Cleveland, and
That would be cool.
that would be my
Both of those
golden...
franchises need a champion. Well, the Cleveland, Cavaliers won it, so that's cool. The Browns are probably going to have a rough year again in football. So the fans need something to root for.
We'll actually talk about that. So, let's shift gears to the NFL draft.
There
So
you go.
the whole thing is Garoppolo.
Yeah.
Where's he going to go? Why is he going to go? And if he's going to go? I have a huge problem with this whole entire transition.
Well, here's what I'm curious about, Kurt. If Garoppolo is being let go by Belichick, that tells me something. Just notice how every time Belichick lets somebody go, they're done. It's amazing. The guy, I'm not a Patriots fan, so I'm being very objective, okay? The man knows what he's doing. The franchise knows what they're doing. And it's amazing. When he lets a player go, that player might have one more year or he's already done. It's amazing that guy is that good.
No, agreed. And
so if they let him go, that I would be weary.
I would be too.
I'd be like,
why are you getting rid of this guy? All right.
Yep.
So my previous quarterback's 40 years old.
Yeah.
He's got maybe 1 to 3 years left. So looking at it objectively, there really is only a couple of different avenues you can go down. Either A, Garoppolo's garbage. B, Belichick sees something in either the quarterback he currently has in Bissett or a quarterback that he can get in the top 10 because he's going to get top 12 talent for that. Mm-hmm. Or Belichick just doesn't give a shit. And he's like, you know what? When Brady's out, I'm out. I really don't care. I'm going to let go of this guy, whatever. Those are really the only 3 plausible. And if anyone can actually contest that, please let us know.
Well, here's the other thing. Where do you think he would go? Let's talk about it. Would he be a fit with the Browns? Garoppolo.
I don't think the Browns should go that route.
I agree with you.
I mean,
what about the Cards? Carson Palmer? I mean, he only has 2 years left.
No, the only place that I could see that him going to is probably the Bears, maybe the Jaguars.
Okay.
Those are the only 2 places because...
Are we giving up on Blake Bortles too soon? I think we're being too harsh on that kid. I like him. From UCF, we got to give him one more shot this year.
That's why that was my second choice because... Coughlin's going to go in there and really kind of clean up house.
Oh, yeah,
He's going to be very militant and very just straightforward, and they're going to be very run heavy. And,
I think Blake can handle that.
I think he can too.
Because he had to deal with George O'Leary at UCF, and George is kind of like that.
Yeah.
So that could be a good. I think they'll be okay. That's a great point, though, Kurt. Jake Cutler. If he goes, does Garoppolo move in?
That would make the most sense. The only other alternative is if the Bears can identify a quarterback that can go number 3, which I'm projecting Trubisky to go to them at number 3.
You like him from NC, huh?
I love him for them.
Yeah.
I only see one quarterback going in the top 10.
Okay. And that's him.
And that's him.
Yeah, he seems to have all the tools. He seems to be a winner. He'll be very interesting to see how he transforms from North Carolina to the NFL. It'll be very interesting to see that. But he does have all the mechanics and all the tools. So I agree with you. I like that kid a lot also.
But the question remains is why are so many people that interested in Garoppolo? I mean,
because they feel he learned from the best with Belichick. They feel, man, could this guy be the next Brady if we can snag him, man? Let's take a shot.
That happened with Castle.
I know.
He got
great point.
You know, they traded him away to Kansas City. He threw for 3,000 yards one time after he left New England.
Well, you look
and why are you trading someone that high up when you have a 40-year-old quarterback?
Well, it's amazing.
I mean, how dumb can you be, NFL? Please watch this show.
Well, here's what happens. The GMs, the head coaches go, you need to have a franchise quarterback or you can't win in this league. So they reach and pray for one.
Of course they do.
Where instead of just fading back, letting it happen, but then you have to have the right owner. Going back to our favorite town of Pittsburgh, PA, the Steelers at least let their head coach run it for 3 to 4 years. They're going to let you work it till you can't work it anymore. Then they're going to let you go, or you're going to retire. You got to give the head coach 5 years. You have to.
Absolutely, you can't have this constant turnover.
It's terrible. Look, poor Browns. Now Hugh Jackson, that poor guy with Cleveland. I mean, he got put in a mess. Now you give him 2 more years. If they don't improve, then you got to let Hugh go too. But boy, Cleveland needs some help.
How about the Bucks letting go to Lovey? How do you feel about that?
that was a little premature. I thought he should have got 1 more year, but they got all nervous. Franchise quarterback with Jameis Winston.
Yep.
Oh, we can't let Dirk go somewhere else and then Jameis fall, and we blew everything by drafting him number 1. I'm not going to be dictated to that way if I'm the owner and GM.
No, you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be at all.
But that's what happens.
I know. And the one thing, so I've always been a fan of organizations.
Yes.
And the one thing about the Steelers is you've had 3 coaches over, 60 years? I mean, it's roughly.
Yeah.
I mean, since 1969, 68.
Well, even sooner. Chuck Noll's here like 60. So you're talking 50 years, brother. They've had 3 coaches:
Yep.
Noll, Cowher, and now Tomlin.
So
that's awesome.
Why aren't more organizations following that suit?
Because they get nervous. The fan base gets all anxious and get rid of him. I mean, it's what have you done for me lately? It gets ridiculous, and that needs to stop too. I love it. The fan can be funny out there, and we appreciate you listening to us and watching us. The fan, you got to realize, okay, if a guy throws 20 touchdowns and throws 1 interception, get rid of him and he stinks. I can't believe all the heat Kirk Cousins got for his final playoff game. The guy got you there, and now you're going to turn on him?
Oh, I agree 100%.
I got a problem with that.
So I have a top 10 that will be completely different than every mock draft you guys have.
Okay.
So I have the Browns drafting Dalvin Cook number 1.
Wow. You know what? That's funny you would say that, because back in the day they took the Florida State running back with their early pick, and he did okay, but he had knee injuries and it hurt him. Don't talk that way. I want Dalvin Cook coming to the Bucs, man.
Well, hang on. We're going to roll through this real quick so we have breaks. So San Fran's going to be Myles Garrett because they need to be offense. The Bears will take Trubisky.
Okay.
We have Jags, Fournette, because they need a running game, and Coughlin will take care of that. Titans will take the tackle out of Alabama, Jonathan. The Jets, they'll take a secondary because obviously Darrelle Revis we didn't get to. Lattimore, and Darrelle Revis is an idiot. Chargers need a wide receiver. They'll take they'll take Williams out of Clemson. The Panthers, they lost their big corner, so they need to replace him. They'll take Tez Tabor out of Florida. Cincy, Well, they're probably going to get rid of their linebacker because he's an idiot. So they'll take Forrester, and then Corey Davis out of Western Michigan. The Bills will take them. I think they're going to retain one of their quarterbacks, and they'll probably be Cordell Jones. They'll keep that wide receiver and bolster their offense, which was fantastic. I think with losing Rex Ryan, they'll have a brand new. I think they should probably keep a lot of stuff at home, and what they did this year was phenomenal. And with new leadership, I think they'll probably be a playoff team next year. So.
Very much so. They can give the Patriots, the Dolphins, and the Jets a little run for the money.
Absolutely.
That division's going to be a lot better this upcoming year.
100%. 100%.
Looking forward to that.
Guys, thank you for stopping by. We really appreciate you guys. And thank you for Patrick Hyland for co-hosting
Thanks for having me on, Kurt.
this evening. We'll see you next week, and we'll have a hell of a lot more fun stuff to talk about next Tuesday on Tuesday Night Sports Talk.